region then appears. The room becomes quiet once more when she and Mendeecees finish kissing in the back of the automobile. Kissing in the rear of the automobile is alleged because this is suddenly explosive rather than the tone intensifies. This isn't a misunderstanding according to what's being said. The sequence, a night that is repeatedly bits and pieces. Mendeecees, a married man, a public narrative, center of it. Liar, God damn you. All right, that evening was never concerning me, you and everyone else. You guys were trying to find something to eat. You guys asked me over the phone what was going on in my direction. Everything up my way closed. I said, Chris, we could always go roofing, I thought. Chris, after you said, fuck it. Meet me at Roof Chris. Zoe and you, Andy and his homeboy enter. All right, third time that you and I have out of nowhere. Now you can do whatever the heck you want to her. He's kept it to himself. Online. People quickly begin making connections. Scoo. Some claim that it sounds like retribution turning into protection. All right. Some say it feels shot. Not only at Tamar. All right. However, underlying all the rage at anyone who is everything is reframed in a single sentence. The lone individual who made a mistake in this Don circumstance. The cliff dot is that. Just to be a diatribe could actually be a line if that is the speaker's perspective. And what transpired that evening is no longer the question. Who's going to answer next is the question. After the first shock fades into something more serious, the tale doesn't pick up speed. It isn't merely a response to one interview. Mendeecees and you are slyly interacting. At the V12, Mendeecees was behind us. All right, he didn't want to enter. Or so he wouldn't have to spend all of his time watching the review footage. It's the gradual disintegration of a private evening that was uninvited. Eye. The speaker establishes reluctance right away. There's no desire to reveal. They freely admit no idea how to react at all. This hesitancy is important because it presents the subsequent events as a reaction rather than an assault. It implies a person who remained silent for as long as possible until silence turned into deception. The speaker claims they weren't sure how to react. The main source of tension is one particular item: control of narrative. Did you make a mistake? That is incorrect. Tamar, additionally, it's unfair to me and it hurts my feelings. My emotions are deeply offended by your attempts to create. This speaker claims not that Tamar spoke in public, the manner in which she did the presentation of birthday as a kind as in they are triggered by an event that somehow went bad. Don't match the actual events of the night. Not because birthdays did. You do just enough becomes a key accusation. It's repeated with frustration. It's almost exhaustion, at least from their point. A view implies subtle manipulation by stating just enough to pique interest. They nearly perished when they awoke in a pool of blood. I didn't play it during the interview, but you mentioned that you nearly died when you woke up in a pool of blood. ITY, but not enough to accept accountability for the outcomes. Not enough to put an end to speculation, but enough to start it. And the harm comes from supposition. The speaker starts meticulously, almost painstakingly, rebuilding the night. Not dramatically, not emotionally, but let's act in this manner. Tamar, I was never at ease with the relationship in front of me, which was part of the issue with the whole situation. All right, everything you're at hunger hotspots that were still open were recommended by the calls. Roof Crisp was selected for practicality rather than celebration. She was hosting a party for a friend's birthday, which was repetitive. Want to know why? When we returned to Tamar's house, I didn't get out of the car and accompany her upstairs, because following her and Mendeecees, I assumed they wanted to be up there alone after they managed to kiss in the back of that damned car. For this reason, it seems deliberate that we were left out of these details. It has nothing to do with glitz. It's important to anchor the narrative in something unremarkable and unromantic. Describes on the roof and the formation of plans. This is where the party starts to fall apart. The speaker maintains that there was no setup, occasion, or intention that would support subsequent allegations that a friend was given something special to the lack of marks and signals that would suggest a celebration. They make a clear line between a planned party and just hanging out, even though they admit that it was officially their birthday week. Furthermore, this distinction is protective rather than petty. Because everything is reframed moment, the word party enters the public discourse. Creates a sense of implicit responsibility when someone gives generously only to be harmed later. Additionally, the speaker claims that this framing portrays them as the antagonist. The friend who failed to defend the friend who was abandoned. That's the painful part. They state it clearly. They are offended, not wounded pride, not wounded ego. Here the tone changes. Disappointment replaces the rage. They discuss observing how the internet responds, observing how scraps are turned into hypotheses on blogs, observing strangers determine who is to blame for the incident. The speaker claims their sentiments are harmed later that evening. Here's where the quiet becomes risky because people make assumptions when there is no clarification. The speaker claims that those presumptions fell on them. People questioning why they left, why they didn't go upstairs, and why would a true friend leave? However, the speaker maintains that there was a cause, which makes the party narrative even more difficult to accept. They talk about being uncomfortable for a long time. Before anything went awry, Tamar and Mendeecees' frequent proximity in public places made me uneasy. Repeated meetings are uncomfortable. Uncomfortable with body language that deviated from their perception of proper behavior. This unease isn't shown as jealousy. It is presented as consciousness. They talk of seeing Mendeecees arrive separately, staying well out of sight, then meeting up late, entering together. The speaker said that this was not a coincidence. Arrangement is an attempt to stay out of the spotlight and stay out of the fray. As the night goes on, they mention Mendeecees arriving separately. Plans are constantly evolving. Buckhead sauce V12. The speaker keeps